Hey guys, thanks so much for joining us. I have Elley Ray here today, and we're so excited because she has a class coming up on April 15th from 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Zoom. And it's going to be a really great class called The Wow Factor. So I'm here with Elley to talk about the class and was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about it so people know what to expect so they can sign up.
Absolutely. Come on down, everybody. Hey, I'm Elley Ray, and I'm so honored to be chatting with you, Val, and I'm so honored to be able to contribute to MAVO and uplift your exciting convention because I believe that a coming together in real time with real people who are alchemists and storytellers is exactly what the world needs right now. We're desperate to sit around fires singing and dancing and sharing fable, and when the coming together of the minds happens, there is this what I call wow. It is called humanity in the ignition point for us magicians. We need to go and actually breathe into one another, and it alivens our commitment to story. So thank you for Mavo, thank you for you, and thank you for all that you do all the time. Um, I'm so honored to have had an opportunity to be at Mavo and will again. Uh, the wow factor, let's talk about what that means to storytellers. Because of institutionalized training, because we are all driven from a very young age to sit down, be quiet, raise your hand to speak. Beta brain energy gets ignited. So we worry timelines, outcomes, protocols, passing, making money, getting rest, getting sleep, taking care of family, responsibility, all of those things just compound, compound, compound. And then, the angelic creator comes to their work and they are so led by a formula that has been instilled in them from a very young age. The wow factor lives in children. They laugh 400 times a day. We laugh 12 to 15 times a day, usually at the expense of somebody else as mature beings. Um, but we lose it. Like, we lose, as soon as responsibility comes in, we're like, and then we get into platforms that are supposed to be creative and dynamic and charm filled, and we lack any of it. And we talk about skill sets and all that nonsense, right? It's something that's inherent to our nature, and yet we've lost it. And the desire to storytell is, rampant worldwide. Everyone wants to be a storyteller, and yet they are, we were just talking about how many students I have right now. They're despairing. They can't get in. They can't celebrate any wins. They can't even celebrate auditions. They can't celebrate the simplest of things, which is your breath, that you are alive. So in the wow factor, there's a reminder of what is the frequency of yourself. It's not about the perfect voice. It's the truth teller's hum. It's the internal combustion of play where you jump up and down and you jump up and down and you say hooray because you're still breathing. And, we must work in rituals. I'm going to provide a couple of rituals. Charming an audience is key. It's, again, has nothing to do with your voice. The charm factor, which gives you the wow, um, it's not a technique. It's not like, oh, I'm going to go and get a technique from Elley. It's permission to be seen celebrating life. That's what charm is. Permission to be seen celebrating life. And in the class, you recount maybe a boring memory, and then you try it again as a whispered secret or a shout or a toast or a jingle. I engage you in singing telegrams and 15-second elevator pitches because the celebration principle, which is the wow factor, celebration, that's when we are at our best, right? And we never feel like we're at our best because we're constantly putting our self-worth in the toilet. Um, is to be the seductive ode to things, the whispered confessions, or the toast that you stand up and you say at a wedding, an Italian wedding, right? And we don't know who our archetype, um, our vocal archetype is. Like, first, what is your, are you a royal? Are you a trickster? Are you an innocent? Are you a healer? Are you a sage, a rebel, a lover? Discover your core, because the magician can do all things. It's just that we don't even know who our core, you know, our our core archetype is. And we all have one, but we've never been allowed to even say it. Some of us may go, I'm cute and I'm cute and I'm sweet, or yeah, well, that's really your biggest sell. That's your biggest wow factor, is who you are. Not that you can do everything else and you can, embellish character up the wazoo and genres of commercials and narration and documentary. Like, none of that has anything to do with anything. It's got to do with, where's your sense of play? Where's are you healing an audience? Are you absolutely capable of changing the vibration of the planet? Literally, which I always say, joy is magnetic. Celebration sells. People buy stories that feel like confetti bursting in their soul, right? That is what people buy. They do not buy a nice voice that is talking, sort of contained and like Billie Eilish, that where it doesn't have anything and you're sort of like dumbing it down to this sort of thing. That's not who we are.
Mm-hmm.
That is truly not who we are when we are at our most vibrating best. And I ask people in the class to think about moments when they were at their very best, when they won $1 million, or they were doing a marathon and they came in 10 20 seconds faster than they usually do, or they got an award, or they got something, and where you're just like breathlessly giddy with anticipation and excitement about possibility. And I go, feel it now. You don't need a thing to feel that. You don't need an experience to feel that. You know what it feels like. So feel it all the time. And particularly when you're in the temple, which is, the studio, and the word is the prayer, you've got to effervescently gush towards your audience with a delight that says, it's wonderful to be able to share this joy with you, because that's the ignition point, to remove the mundane lethargy from our ability. Oh God, I'm so tired. I got to do this audition, and now I'm going to try and put on a nice voice with my audition, but my lethargy and lack of celebration is in place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Turning emotion into sound, that's what it is. The words have no power. You have the power. The script will be given to everyone. One person will get the job. And it's about your emotions. But we don't know what we feel except for lethargy and pain and remorse and guilt and shame and all of that we try to cover up with a little bit of a sing-song voice. No, true emotion. We turn tension into intention. You take the tension and you turn it into intention, so that you're not struggling amidst trying to be a nice person. Celebrate, and then the nice is just there. Okay.
Yeah.
Teaching sacred is what I do. Teaching the sacred, which is your magic, which is your power, and then listening as you're speaking. And that is a wow factor, where I can hear everything my audiences are saying to me as I'm, yes, experiencing whatever I'm saying, because I see them nodding and I see them smiling and I hear them commenting, well, how much does it cost? And where do I go? And all of those sort of things. So, listening is part of the wow factor, which is part of the charm, which is part of the celebration. And charm is a dance, it's not a monologue. So you think it's a monologue on a page. No, no, I don't care what other coaches are telling you. Forget about the words and the script because AI can do it better. Charm, like I said, that's the dance. The script, you bring your charm to anything. That's the mini experiment. Moving from words to music. Can you do it? Intonation or incantation. Again, look at, can you sing in celebration? And people go, oh, I'm not a good singer. I go, yes, you are. Because if you know, yes, you are. If you truly celebrate, it doesn't matter. You can be off key. I don't care when you sing with pure happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. That's how everybody does it, right? You just go,
Mm-hmm.
where's the celebration? Where's the charm? Um, People don't want to be sold to. Nobody wants to be sold to. It's not unknown that I know you're trying to sell me something. I don't, I know. They want to be included in a moment worth celebrating. They don't
That's a
want
great
to
way of
be
looking at it.
sold
Yeah.
to. They
Yeah.
just want to be included in a moment worth celebrating because your script isn't the pitch. Your script is a party invitation. Okay?
Yeah.
There's so much to unfold in the course with your voice being a vessel where you have to get clear the vessel and you have to get raw and you have to it's emotional nudity gang. It's emotional nudity and we're like, I feel weird, and it's like, yeah, it's emotional nudity and it feels so freeing and liberating when it's allowed. Healing through performance, because real charm will heal your audience because it dares to connect and be vulnerable. And that's the hero.
That's
And it,
that's a
it
lot. A
it's
lot
a
to
lot.
unpack.
It's a lot, all of it. There's so much, the invisible clothes and what draws people naturally in without trying. All of that. Just things like no pitch, no sell. No pitch, no sell. It's just the presence of you that sells itself. Your presence, your celebratory emotional presence, whether you're giddy, whether you're seductive, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what emotional truth is your celebration. There can be all of them all at the same time. Um,
Yeah, I think that people really have a tendency and have always had a tendency to, it's like you go in and you go, okay, I've got these, 5 or 6 auditions I've got to get done. I'm excited about them and I can't wait to tackle each one differently and give it all my best and da da da, right? And then you get in the booth and you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this first one and like what's my emotion here and who am I talking to? And you go through all the stuff, that you've been taught over all the years of coaching and stuff that you've taken and training, and it's just ingrained in your brain, right? And that's what it's good to have that information, but I think that it makes it hard to do exactly what you're saying and just let it like actually be, let you be like your natural self
well, we think we have to be
within that,
better. Yeah. We always think I'm not enough. You are the best you there is. The best you there is needs to be celebrated. The only you there is needs to be celebrated. Your self worth is the thing that makes people go, "Oh, I love them. Oh my God, I really love them, right? You just really made me feel good, or you made me cry. Oh my God, you really made me cry." Because it's charm isn't performance. Charm is a
Mhm.
frequency that is inclusive and literally is dance with me. Let's just celebrate. Come on. When you've had a couple of glasses of wine or whatever and you just go, I feel relaxed and I just feel good because I'm with a whole bunch of people and we're all chatting, we're all having it like it's like a party. Well, that's what it is in the booth, except you forget the audience is there.
Right.
You forget that your fellows are right there and that you've got all of the party invitation saying, we can play. I can hear you. I know that you need help and I'm here to help. I'm going to seduce you. I'm going to soothe you. I'm going to sparkle into you. I'm going to tickle you. I'm going to make you feel something rather than I've got to sound kind of good. I better sound good. That's where
Yeah.
we go to because that's kind of voiceover. It's
Yeah,
our voice.
psychologically, that's ingrained into it, been ingrained into our brains so much. I think that it's not even it's not even a conscious decision anymore sometimes when you just get in there and you're like, okay, I got to do this. I got to break this down. I got to think about who I'm talking to. I got to do all the stuff, right? And then it's like what comes out of your voice, like out of your mouth is, and you listen back and you're like, yeah, that was okay. But like, if it doesn't wow you, then it's definitely not going to wow the client. If you're
Exactly.
like, well, I sound kind of tense here, it's
Well,
okay,
and
well,
think
maybe you
about
should
it.
redo it.
I always say to people, okay, to, let's go through the whole class and I'll give everybody the same line. Go through the whole class, 20 people do it exactly the same.
Yeah,
Exactly the same. And I'm like, there's no authenticity. And I don't believe for 1 second that you guys don't have a wow factor. Like, I
yeah,
don't believe that. You're like all going, what does Ellie expect of me? I'm not sure. I don't expect anything because I already know that you're spectacular. I know you're magicians and alchemists and wizards and wizardesses, but you aren't tapping into your bag of tricks and sparkle and charming. They're charms,
yeah,
and then, as soon as you offer specific nuggets of how exactly to do, people go, oh, I never thought to do that. I would never have done that. And I go, how come? They're like, I don't know. I just didn't think I could, or I don't I don't know. And it's like so funny to me because I didn't know that other people didn't do what I did until I started casting. And then I heard auditions. And I was like,
yeah. And then you're like 300 auditions that all sound the same.
well, that is exactly it. And also the other thing that told me this was when I jury certain big um, shows like the Emmys and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I'm hearing the best of the best in
Yeah,
the country, and they're good. There is 1.8% that are Robin Williams or
mm,
Jim Carrey's or
right.
people that you go, what is happening?
Yeah,
What is happening? Because they fearlessly allow, you think they're nuts at first, but then you go, oh my God, they're really loving, generous, and kind, and are giving every ounce of their energy to make people feel good.
yeah,
And I think that a lot of wonderful storytellers are afraid to step outside of the place where they've been institutionalized. They
yeah.
don't
That
know what,
comfort zone.
well, and you can feel comfortable being drunk and partying and dancing and celebrating and do that. But I don't think that they think that's an option to bring to the table when it's the only option to bring to the table is the sell again. The storyteller doesn't sell, they charm. and people buy feelings, not voices. People buy feelings because, listen, I have a terrible voice, right? I was told I would never voice because of all the issues I have with my voice. Well, obviously,
They were wrong.
sort of like, that's strange because that's what I realized. It's how I feel, and it's how I make you feel, because an audience will remember how you made them feel heard, not about you being heard. They'll remember how you made them feel heard, because if I'm listening to the world, then I'm in, there's a response driven dialogue in that monologue, which doesn't exist. There are no monologues.
Hmm.
There's a dialogue, and I'm obviously responding to you, where I instead of stating facts, which becomes the announcer, there's no escaping it. I love when they say we don't want the announcer. We don't want the
Hmm.
announcer. We want a real person. Folks, almost 99% of everything out there right now is the announcer. You can kid yourself all you want and go. If you spoke to me like that in when we were going out to dinner and you did that in a little 30-second spot, I'd look at you and go, wait, why are you talking like that?
That's
Why are you
true.
talking like that? You're doing a commercial voice. I don't care what anybody says.
It's right.
And
You're
I
right. Yeah.
don't care what they say. Nobody talks, even in the kind of realist ways where they're trying to do all the right things with the pre-moment and, an elongation on a vowel. I go, you sound weird. I
Yeah.
would tell my friends to stop talking like that. You're freaking me out. I'm already in the industry of that.
Right.
And nobody tells us how to do it.
Right.
There's
That
a
is
million classes
definitely,
out there, right? There's a million classes out there. And in the wow factor, I tell you how to do it. And you're like,
and you'll get the wow factor.
the wow factor, but you also get, a checklist of what you need to bring to every audition and every job that you get. And if you bring the checklist, and it's lengthy, and it's lengthy, but it's there's an infinite checklist. I just give you the basics that then allow you to use your own charm, your own
Hmm.
magic. You've got other things, but these are basic ones that people just miss. They just they just don't I don't understand, and it wasn't until I listened that I went, where's the sing song? Where's the opera moment? Where's the secret? Where's the thought to self? Where's the crescendo? Where's the decrescendo? Where's the staccato? You aren't orchestrating anything because you don't
Yeah.
feel anything.
It ends up just being flat and all the same, uh, like it's all fast or it's all slow or there's the pacing is all the same and there's just so many things that go into it and I think yeah, it's really an eye opener that you get stuck, you get stuck in
Everybody gets
that.
stuck because
Yeah.
we've been taught how to read since
Yeah.
we were 4 years old, or however people were when they learned. And you read from left to right, and then in school. You do a sort of nice thing, and then you get into audiobooks, and you still sort of do a thing, and you carry on because you see all the words ahead of you. You can't know what's ahead of you if you're in a conversation. You've got to respond the idea to a question asked, and if you can't paraphrase your script, then you don't know what you're saying. And that's another
Mhm.
trick. I'll go, okay, do the script. And everybody's so eager to do the audition. Blah, 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 blah. And then I go, turn it over. Okay. And then I go, now tell me do the script, do it, paraphrase. And they're like, without the lines, they don't know what they're talking about. And what that
Right.
says to me is, you've got to know what you're saying.
Yeah. That's
Paraphrase what you're saying first, and then you'll know what the script is. But if you can't, because you're relying only on the words that are there, then you don't know what you're selling. You don't know how you feel about it. You don't know who you are as the character am I a cashier, and am I a manager, am I a doctor, am I a lawyer, am I a neighbor, am I what they'll have all different. It's all different. but we just go words. I'm going to say them nicely, quickly, like we're in
Yeah.
a big hurry and no investigation. I just did I'm the DA. Well, I just did a big campaign and I did it very late at night. I booked it and I was like, I don't ever think about my auditions. I never overthink them, but this one I
Mhm.
did because it's the lead character in that has been for years, the guy has a very strong accent.
Mm.
And they were bringing in for the sale now a recurring character of his mother who he wants to tell, and they wanted her to be Southern from the States. And it wasn't really, she said, reckon, and she said hello, and it was on a phone, it was a phone call, and he goes, hey, mom, it's so and so, and she's like, oh, reckon we saw the loss. Yeah, right, when that lies to you, right? Whatever that is. But I thought, okay, they want 3 takes. I'm going to do one exactly as they asked for, and then I went and looked up sort of Southern redneck, your redneck when really funny sort of sayings and slang in Southern. And I
Mhm.
thought the funniest, oh my God. And I looked it up. It took me a while. I wrote it all out, all of them, so I could borrow. I didn't know where I was going to do what or whatever. And I just threw them all in the script. I still said the same lines, but I threw way more interesting. And of
Mhm.
course, I booked the job, and everybody was like, what did you do in what? And I go, I just, I looked up the way that a character would speak in because there was some I don't understand what you're saying, right? Well,
Right.
you only understand if it's like your cornbread ain't cooked in the middle, son, or whatever,
Mhm.
your berries ain't the basket, or whatever you're going, what's crack a lacking out, if that ain't the isn't, or whatever the saying is, right? Your opportunity to make and create your own audition, and people are like, oh, you can't do that, you can't do it, and I'm like, yes, you can. I can give you a million examples of why, because I'm so creative. No, I'm just as creative as you. If I know I have to play a gamer, then I have to look up gaming lingo because I don't know the lingo that gamers use.
Right.
And I add
Mhm.
all that lingo in where I'm like, whoa, and it explains what it means, but I want to act like I actually know what I'm doing. Or if I
Yeah.
need to be, urban, street, upscale, there's a slang and there's a lingo. You can look up anything you want. Sayings from New York, sayings from blah, whatever you're doing. People don't think to actually celebrate the character. They will only rely on the words that are there. And there's so much musicality in the work that we choose to do. What is your toolbox? Do you have a toolbox? People say they do. And I'm like, I can't see any tools that you're using.
Yeah.
I can't, I honestly, without being, cheeky, I really want to hear what tools are you bringing to this spot? Show me them. What are your tricks? Where are your charms? Where are they? What are they?
Yeah.
It's interesting. And I mean, we need somebody to help. I need storytellers to do better
Mhm.
because storytellers are there to heal humanity. And if you lose your sense of celebration, there will be no healing going on. And we wonder why AI takes over. Well, they can handle the one dimensionality very easily and they're cheaper,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very interesting.
But
I
when you bring your celebration or your charms, the AI not so good at that.
yeah, definitely. That's where you start to lose them. That's
Like listen to your voice, Val. That is a voice that is so unique. It's like Christopher Walken, Christopher Walken because he has a very specific, cadence to the way he speaks.
mhm.
Your voice. You've got that cute little sound, right?
Yeah.
Everyone, wow, my voice is so recognizable. You know, the terrible voice, I love my voice, my nasal, weird, raspy thing. Um, that's what we celebrate, the raw basis of our personal truth using, tones that we don't usually use because we're not celebrating. There's no wow where we go, wow, I have an audition to talk to audiences. I'm on the field, I'm playing the game. We don't do that. There's no wow. It's like, oh my God, I'm tired. Let me overthink this. Let me do it a million times and not change it. And
That's
well,
so
I mean, we
relatable.
know what we do, right? We know what we do. We can't help ourselves.
Yeah. It's like when I was talking to a casting director one day, and I was saying, can you give a in an interview, and I was saying, can you give an example of, what you want to hear in an ABC take, because sometimes I feel like, okay, I start out and I'm like, okay, this one is going to be like this, and this one's going to be like that, and this one's going to be like that, right? And then I do all three, and then I'm like, and now they all sound the same. I'm like,
Well,
what?
that's what happens. And so what you have to, change your emotional action, change your physical action, change your placement, change your tonality, change your rhythm. So if you're basing things on, a musicality, so you might have a sort of a bluesy, boozy sort of bluesy tone that, where I'm going to take the music of, say, jazz, a bluesy jazz or something like that. I'm going to put that into my, and then I'm going to go sort of hip hop. Ah, come on, that's not true. And it's going to change your rhythm, at least. It may change your pitch and tone as well. But,
Mhm.
that's one of a million ways to come in differently. I find that everybody always uses their own lips, teeth, and tongue and larynx. Like, you can push your larynx down. You can do all kinds of things that
Mhm.
are technical, but don't always use your mouth shape. You might want to change it up a little. You might want to talk through your nose. You might want to, this is a little bit more character work, but there's so much character work in commercial as well. I love when people go, there's no character in commercial. That's just not true. It's just not true. There's
Mhm.
all kinds of scrubbing bubbles and Rice Krispie elves and bears, all kinds of stuff, right? It's real, but it sounds sort of different. They've got something else going on. Um, or whether you're the coffee maker or the fruit of the loom fruits in the underpants, like whatever.
Mhm.
There's tons of play going on, and it's not just in the character driven spots. You're always a actor, a character. You're a care actor, and no apology, full charm. Ooh, it's just you just have to. How do you want to charm me? Because you might change your mind about how you want to charm me. Okay, let's talk about what charm is like. How do you fall into your audience? How do you roll around and tickle them? How do you put the blankets over your head and snuggle them? How do you wrap your arms around them? We don't, because we don't do it to ourselves.
Yeah.
We feel so alone and so, in our ego head. Ego head is our left brain, beta brain, worry wart. Get out of there. Get out of
Yeah.
there and get into your theta brain. As everybody knows me, I'm a theta brain guru. It's your place of play. It's a child brain. It's a rolling brain wave. Google it. It's free. Get in there, play it before you have to do your work, and there will be possibility for you to wow. And what I make all my students do now, because I just have to force them, is when they slate, they have to go awesome. Like they have to go awesome in an emotional way. Like
Mhm.
they can't go awesome like this. They can't go Elley Ray awesome. They can't even go Elley Ray. They can't do that. They've got to go Elley Ray. Awesome! And what happens is when they do the awesome, it makes them feel like, oh, I've got like energy and I'm feeling all funny. And then when they hit their, it's a pre moment for them off their slate. Not everybody gets to slate. Well, I just say do a tail slate and then do it backwards,
Mhm.
so that you energetically meet the moment of wow. Say awesome. I'm so awesome because I make people tag themselves with a little 3 word, like you're selling me you, you're not selling me a product. And if you're selling me you, what's your tagline for your you as product? A touch of magic, alchemical wizardry, the wow factor, whatever it's like da 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 da. I'm loving it. McDonald's, Nike, just do it. Twizzlers, a twist you can't resist. Every product has a tagline, but nobody likes to add anything to their little slate as a little wink. And I make them do that, and then I make them go, awesome. It says, I'm here to play. I'm not serious. I'm having a good time. And any casting director that goes, don't do that, I'm like, stop it. Stop. Just stop. Now you're trying to stop play and stop celebration and stop people having a good time because you think it's serious business. There's
Mm-hmm.
nothing serious about charming and healing and inspiring, igniting, and uplifting your audience. That's not professional. All of
Mm.
that is ooga booga speak. That's nut speak. That's they read a book about it and they said you got to be serious. People are not serious. It's not that I can't be professional and have a good bedside manner. I can
Right.
I can feel what I feel and have all the information that you need. But I don't come to it as a very earnest, dramatic, serious human being all the time that talks like this because I can't hear you. It's like being in the study lectures when I was in university and I would just fall asleep. It just put me into a coma because you can't really hear anything when it's all like said like that.
Yeah.
You just can't hear it. Seduce me, ignite me, excite me, invite me to come and play with you. Invite me to come. I want my audience to feel that I hear them and I want to come and be with them and play with them. I do. I really do.
Yeah.
That comes from doing so much theater. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
big theater person, and when you have a live audience and they standing ovations and clapping for you and laughter throughout the thing, you have a relationship with the audience. I play the audience. I'm fearless when it comes to playing the audience, and that's come. I was really, really young when I started in theater, and most people don't want to talk to anybody, Val, and that goes for everybody. We fear all of the crowds around us on the busy subway car. If we're in a restaurant with just our partner, we don't won't care about anybody else in the restaurant. You're not going to stand up in a chair and go, "Hi, excuse me, everybody. Hi, everybody." You're not going to do
Yeah.
it. And I say, why not? This is one of the exercises I make my students do. They hate me for it. Place for where you don't know anybody, get their attention out of looking their heads are in their phones. Everybody's quiet and they all go, it's somebody's lost their mind and they're talking. And I go, no, no, and give them a good message. And all my students are like what? What do you mean a good message? Like what kind of a message? And I go, I don't know, whatever you feel. Some people I've witnessed some of my students do it where they go, I'm probably having the best day of my life, and my coach told me that we don't like to talk to our fellows and we don't appreciate humanity and we don't want to uplift humanity, and I want to prove that I'm not afraid to speak to people I don't know and wish you well and say thank you for being here at Tim Hortons on a Sunday. Because this day is a really glorious day for me, and you're a part of it. You're all here with me, and I don't want to pretend that you're not here with me. And I'm paraphrasing, of course, now. I was crying. He was so moving. And then he goes,
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to buy you whatever you're ordering. And I was like, okay, that wasn't part of the exercise. The crowd cheered. People were coming up and hugging him and saying, I want to help. And they ended up taking a bunch of money out to a homeless guy outside of the coffee shop who was, I mean, it was just a phenomenal thing to witness. But
Nice.
it's like, where do you really want to talk to people you don't know? Because if you can't talk to people you don't know in real life, then coming to the microphone is a lie.
Mm-hmm.
You are not,
Yeah.
you don't really care about them. You don't want to wish them well. You don't want to celebrate with them. You're worried about your performance. You're worried about your voice. You're worried about the outcome of what you're doing. Forget about all that, guys, and the wow factor will be in place and you can charm anybody. If
Perfect.
you're in an elevator and you say, is that a chicken club? Give me a bite of that. And there's like 9 people. in the hospital elevator. And I'm like, I'm just kidding. It smells good though, doesn't it? And everybody's they laugh, right? They laugh and they go, I go, where did you get it? They're like, I got it down in the street. And it's like, okay, is that crispy chicken or is it a breast? And they're like, a breast. And everybody's like, it really does smell good. And then there's a whole conversation about a sandwich. Like, who cares? But it's just silly. Like you've got these moments and we miss them. We miss those moments of celebration. And you as storytellers, my friends, you have the opportunity of doing it every single day with the world. With the world. Don't miss that opportunity to wow and charm and celebrate with your fellows.
Absolutely. All right. Well, you guys, this has been so wonderful. Thanks so much for this really exciting description of what this class is going to be about and a little bit, a little bit of a dive into what it's going to be about. So join us on April 15th from 5 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Go to www.midatlanticvo.com to register today, and we'll see you there.